Alright, you're having a good game and then boom, you just got bombed. And now you wanna have your revenge. That's where an SPA comes in. SPAs are the best way to fight planes and sometimes even tanks. There are many types of SPAs. You got the small caliber ones with very fast cannons, and you got the big caliber ones that scare even tanks. I'm ranking every tank in War Thunder, and today we're ranking SPAs from 1.0 to 2.7. Keep in mind that while rating these SPAs, their performance against planes is more important than their tank destroyer abilities because they are anti-air after all. Let me know what you wanna see next and subscribe so you don't miss my next tier list. Alright, first SPA on the list is the M13 MGMC. This American half-track is armed with 250 cals that feel pretty OP at 1.7. Most planes and low tier are very slow and fragile, and the 50 cal can easily rip them apart. The M13 is also very fast, but like all half-tracks, he struggles with turning and maneuvering, especially at low speeds. But honestly, that's not a big issue since you rarely need to move in this kind of SPA since low tier aircrafts are easy to spot and track. The M13 also has a long magazine and a high rate of fire, making it very effective and easy to use. A tier. The M15 CGMC. This is basically an M13 with an additional 37mm cannon, and it's a beast. The cannon can penetrate any tank you face on 1.7, and honestly, I've destroyed more tanks than planes with this thing. It has a decent rate of fire, a quick reload, and with some smart flanking and positioning, you can easily take out multiple targets. The only real downsides are the slow gun traverse and the awkward playstyle. If you want to push forward, you'll often need to reverse so your gun stays on the target. Overall, it's a surprisingly effective tank destroyer disguised as an SPA. A tier. The M16 MGMC. This is an upgraded version of the M13, now armed with 450 cals, making a very powerful SPA that is still very dangerous against planes at 2.7 and even higher BRs. The extra guns increase the reload time, but they also make it easier to just spray more rounds and easily shred any aircraft that flies by. S tier. The Flakpanzer I. This is the first SPA in the German tree and it's actually not bad. It has a 20mm autocannon that can fire HE, AP, and even high velocity AP rounds that are unstoppable at low tier. The cannon has a very fast rate of fire, but the magazine only holds 20 rounds, so it can easily run out in a single burst. The 3-second reload feels a bit long, which can lead to missed opportunities. On top of that, it has only 2 crew members and the armor is practically non-existent, so it rarely survives a hit or a strafing run. The sluggish mobility also holds it back, but it's still a decent SPA overall. C tier. Flakpanzer 38. This is the upgrade to the Flakpanzer I with many improvements. It uses the Czech Panzer 38T chassis, which is more robust, reliable, and noticeably faster. While it still carries the same 20mm autocannon, the improved mobility makes it much more effective at flanking and ambushing. A tier. The Sd.Kfz 222. This German armored car is an improved version of the Sd.Kfz 221 that we covered in the part 1 of the light tanks tier list. It's quite similar, but instead of the 20mm cannon that fires APCR, this version has an autocannon capable of firing HE and AP rounds, making it very dangerous to low tier tanks. Its main drawbacks are the short magazine size and the roughly 6-7 second reload time, which leaves it vulnerable if you miss your shots. However, it's extremely fast and agile, allowing it to strike quickly and escape before the enemy can respond. B tier. The Sd.Kfz 6.2. This German half-track carries an AA gun similar to the American M15. It has similar penetration to the M15, but it fires APHE rounds so it can easily one-shot any tank. The firing range is slightly faster and the reload is practically instant, making it extremely effective. However, the half-track design is quite limiting, and with almost no armor, its survivability is very low. But despite that, it remains a very powerful SPA. A tier. The GAZ-AAA 4M. The Soviet truck is the first SPA in the Soviet tree and it's pretty neat. It's armed with the quad 762 Maxim LMG that's water cooled, so it doesn't overheat and you can fire as long as you want. Those low caliber rounds absolutely shred biplanes and other fragile low tier aircrafts, but anything with armor or stronger construction is basically immune. It's surprisingly fast and agile for a truck, and that mobility really helps make up for how weak and exposed it is. A tier. The GAZ-AAA DShK. This is another Soviet truck, but instead of the Maxim LMG, it's armed with DShK machine gun. The gun is powerful enough to penetrate light tanks and tear through planes, though it's more effective against ground targets because the ammo selection lacks HE rounds. The truck itself is very fast, which is great for flanking and ambushing enemies, but the gun's reverse is limited. It can't aim backwards, which can be frustrating in tight fights. B tier. The GAZ-MM 72K. This is the third variant of the GAZ-based SPAA line. Like the previous truck, it's fast and agile, but the armor is basically non-existent, so speed and position are key. Its 25mm autocannon is a huge step up, quick to reload and deadly against both planes and light tanks. Even at 2.7, when some targets have thicker armor, flanking and ambushing makes it very dangerous. The HE rounds also pack a punch against aircraft, often taking out a plane in a single hit. A tier. The ZUT-37. The Soviet SPA feels more like a light tank than a dedicated AA vehicle. It's similar to the T-60 but with a bigger gun and a slightly weaker hull. The cannon is very powerful against ground targets, but the 5-round magazine and 5-second reload really limit its effectiveness against aircrafts. The best SPAs usually have a high rate of fire and either a large magazine or a fast reload. So while it's very good at taking out tanks, it's not that good at taking out planes. D tier. The BTR M15 AA. This is one of the best low tier SPAs in the game. It's similar to the M13 MGMC, but instead of the half-track design, it's fully wheeled, making it faster and more agile. The cannons are larger than the conventional 50 cals, and the high rate of fire makes it extremely dangerous to enemy aircrafts. It can even take out lightly armored ground vehicles, and the 5-man crew gives it extra survivability. S tier. The Light AA Mark I. This tiny SPA is very nimble and it's excellent at keeping enemy planes off the air. It's armed with 4 rapid-firing guns that can easily shred low-flying aircrafts. It is also very fast and you need that speed and agility because it has only 2 crew members and the armor is pretty fragile. B tier. The T-17 E2 Staghound. This SPA is based on the T-17 E1 Staghound armored car chassis. It's armed with 250 cals, making it great for hunting planes, and its speed and agility make it a great flanker too, since most low-tier targets aren't well armed, especially on the sides. Honestly, it's decently armored for its class and I've managed to survive many shots with it. S tier. The Type 94. This Japanese AA truck packs a 20mm autocannon that can handle planes and even lightly armored tanks. It's got almost no armor, so staying out in the open is risky, but it's quick enough to duck for cover or get away when attacked. The magazine carry only 20 rounds, but the fire rate is moderate, so you won't run out in a single burst. A tier. The Type 98 AA. This experimental Japanese SPA was a prototype based on the Type 95 Hago light tank chassis. It's armed with the same 20mm autocannon used on the Type 94, offering similar firepower but with a much faster gun traverse that greatly improves its anti-air performance. The armor is pretty thin, but its small size and mobility make it easy to position and ambush targets effectively. A tier. The CCKW 353 M45. This Chinese truck is basically an M16 MGMC on wheels instead of the half-track design. It's a bit slower and the engine is not as strong, but it's still fast and agile, and the fully wheeled setup gives the excellent maneuverability compared to the tracked SPAs. S tier. The Africa Settentrionale 42. I reviewed the variants of this vehicle back in the Light Tanks tier list part 2, the Camionetta. But this SPA is actually the first version of the Camionetta Desertica Mod 42 and it's much better. It's fast, highly mobile, and it's surprisingly effective against tanks. The 20mm autocannon hits hard, and while the high-velocity AP rounds tend to shatter, they can still punch through most targets with ease. The only drawback is the short magazine and the roughly 3-second reload, especially when they are coming straight for you. Maybe I'm nitpicking here, but in a car with no armor, that split second can make a difference. B tier. The Camionetta Model 52. This is essentially the Italian take on the American M16 MGMC. With its all-wheel chassis, it's incredibly agile and can go across the battlefield very quickly. It mounts the same quad 50 cal setup, delivering that familiar and devastating firepower. Mobility makes it great for quick relocation and ambushes, but with no armor to speak of, staying exposed for long is not a good idea. S tier. The P.7.T AA. This French SPA is quite unique. It's armed with 4 13.2 Hotchkiss MGs, making it surprisingly dangerous to both aircrafts and lightly armored tanks. However, the limited turret elevation means engaging fast-flying aircrafts can be tricky. The small 30-round magazines and the 6 to 7 second reload also leaves you exposed during combat, and with only 3 crew members completely unprotected, any hit can be fatal. The mobility is decent, but with no significant armor, even rifle fire can take this thing out. B tier. The CCKW 353 AA. This French SPA mounts the 40mm Bofors cannon on the back of a CCKW 353 truck, giving it some of the hardest hitting firepower at its tier. The gun is excellent against both aircrafts and ground targets with great penetration and stopping power. It is a really strong cannon and we will see it more on many SPAs in higher BRs. However, the truck's chassis is huge, slow to turn and completely unarmored, making it an easy target for strafing or artillery. Moreover, the recoil between shots feels heavy, but with some practice it can be very deadly. Overall, this is a very strong SPA that can even work at 5.0. S tier. The Panzerbank Lvtdgb Fordons Model 42. The Swedish SPA might be one of the most underrated vehicles in its tier. It's armed with a 20mm autocannon that can fire AP and HE rounds, so you can take down planes and pretty much anything at 1.7. The gun fires rapidly, reloads quickly, and can absolutely dominate if used right. However, it's far from perfect. The armor is thin, the 2-man crew is vulnerable, and the biggest issue is the limited ammo supply. With only 3 36-round magazines, you can run out very quickly. Thankfully, you can use the ammo box to stay at a captured zone and fight for a lot longer. A tier. The Panzerbank 301. This is one of those vehicles that doesn't look impressive at first glance, but it's surprisingly capable. Unlike most SPAs, it has decent armor for its class, and the 20mm autocannon can fire over 700 rounds per minute, making it hard to miss a plane. It can also fire AP rounds, allowing it to penetrate and destroy many low-tier tanks with ease. The main downside is the somewhat sluggish gun traverse, especially when tracking planes sometimes. On the bright side, it has solid mobility and smoke grenades to help you escape when things get hectic. S tier. The Lvtdgb M40. This Swedish SPA is very similar to the German and French trucks we've seen. It's got a 40mm autocannon that is very overpowered. With this SPA, you've got 3 different ammo belts. A mix of AP and HE, with the AP shells capable of punching through 75mm of armor. That's stronger than many tanks at 2.7. The second belt is mainly HE, and the third tab belt offers less penetration, but the post-spin damage is worth it. Like its counterparts, this truck has sluggish mobility and almost no armor, but I've used it even at 5.0 and it did really well. S tier. Alright guys, here is the final tier list. Let me know what you think, and the part 2 is coming next week, so subscribe so you don't miss it.